down at 6. Big third down. Hurts keeps. Hurts cuts. Hurts has the first down. And Jalen Hurts might have just put it away for the Eagles. Touchdown.
And that is the moment Jalen Hurts became your Eagles' future franchise quarterback. This is Eagles postgame live. What is going on, guys? Eagles get the W here, 40-29. They move to 5-6 on the season. We are going to react, talk about our top takeaways, our player of the game. Let's get started. My man over there, he is Shane. Follow him on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. What's up, Shane?
And it was a really exciting first half. I'm not going to lie, I started getting nervous there at the beginning of the fourth quarter, but we put it away finally, and so I got to go take some blood pressure medicine after this is over.
As scripted, as we all expected, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside saves the season on a massive reception, 23-yard reception in the fourth quarter. Also joining us is the man, the myth, the legend. He is Rob Lange at Philly_Madness on Twitter. What's up, Rob?
You know, I had myself fully believing that your typical Eagles, when everybody gets back on your bandwagon, you just fall flat on your face. I had myself believing that, but man, they took that away so early. And you know, listen, credit for today. We've given the coaches a lot of grief. Credit to both coaches who showed some major adjustments today, and are showing me that these young guys, coaches included, are growing. And, you know, we're going to have a fun end of the year, man. We're going to have a fun end of the year.
Yeah, 5-6 with pretty much a relatively easy schedule moving forward to end the season. I'm going to lead off with top takeaways for me.
Hold on. I got one for you.
Yeah.
I got one for you. That 23-yard reception by J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, that gave him the same amount of yards Jalen Reagor has in the last 5 weeks combined. Okay, you go ahead now.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Everybody see what Justin Jefferson did today, too? Everybody see Justin Jefferson today? Just saying. You could have Justin Jefferson on one side, and I know that they wouldn't have done it, but still, theoretically, Devontae Smith and Justin Jefferson as your 1-2 punch at receiver.
Guys, as always, if you love the Philadelphia Eagles, if you hate Jalen Reagor, please give this video a like and make sure to subscribe. Rob is like, subscribe.
I'm officially out. This guy's got no chance with me now.
As always, if you're watching us live, be sure to comment, react with us. Man, it is at one point in this game, it felt I made a tweet like, you know, this is fun. Eagles football is fun. I was like, is this real life? Sure enough, they made it super stressful there, especially in the fourth quarter with minutes remaining. That really made you kind of, I don't want to go there, but let's talk about some major takeaways. For me personally, it's the Eagles offensive line. You look at the Eagles going into this game, it was the Eagles' last 3 games on the ground, dominant, literally one of the best on the ground teams in the NFL. The Eagles were just completely dominant, 209 plus yards per game the last 3 games, number 1 in the league, 5.1 yards per rush attempt. You look at the Saints defense, number 1 in rushing defense, and you look at this first half. This first half from the Philadelphia Eagles, they just tore them up. They absolutely tore them up. And what I went to especially was big plays. The Saints limited to only 2 plays of 20 yards or more on the ground this year by that rushing defense. They had that literally within like the first freaking quarter, the Eagles. So just a dominant performance from the Eagles offensive line on my end, especially in that, that first half. The Eagles had 152 rushing yards, 5.6 yards per carry in the first half. Eagles offensive line, we're going to gush about Jalen Hurts today. I will. We're going to gush about Darius Slay, especially this defense over the last 2 weeks. For me, the biggest storyline for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward is this Eagles offensive line. I'm going to throw it to my man Shane.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this game, the Saints had the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL. Out of the last 4 years, they've never been worse than the 4th rushing defense. And so I expected the Eagles not to just stop running the ball, but to have to go back to more of a balanced offense. And they didn't have to do that at all. They pounded the ball. And if you can run the ball on the Saints, who, by the way, the Saints were averaging giving up 3.1 yards per carry. Second place was the Bucs at 3.7. Like, they were 20% better than second place. If the Eagles can run the ball like that on them, there's not a team that they can't run the ball on. And so that's a huge takeaway for this offense. They've established an offensive identity now. They didn't just do it against bad opponents. They pushed the Saints around all day. And so, I'm interested to see moving forward. Is this something they're going to be able to sustain over the rest of the season when they certainly are playing, lesser defenses throughout the rest of the regular season?
Just to piggyback off of that, you look at Trevor Siemian, who was god-awful at times in this game. Really bad. Like, that was like one of the first questions. It's like going back to the Detroit Lions game. Like, are the Eagles this good, or is Trevor Siemian and the Saints that bad? But you look at this rushing attack. The Eagles had 242 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, 4.8 yards per carry, multiple big yards, 15 yards, 20-plus yards in this game. That was my major takeaway of this game was the Eagles really there was actually, like, we didn't even talk about pass protection for Jalen Hurts. There was just so much time in the pocket for Jalen Hurts in this game. Eagles offensive line. What about you, Rob?
Well, look, obviously both of those things are huge. There's so many, in my opinion, takeaways of the game, but I'm going to go to the other side of the ball, and I'm going to go to Jonathan Gannon looking as though maybe he can also adjust like we've seen now with Nick Sirianni. It's not just a matter of blitzing. There's a lot of different things. Today, I saw actual disguised blitzes where you thought it was coming from one place and it came from another. I saw guys getting up on receivers. I saw a defensive backfield that was anticipating rather than guessing. So, look, I gave Nick Sirianni credit when he adjusted. Today, Jonathan Gannon adjusted. Am I a firm believer in this guy right now? No. You got to do it for more weeks. And, look at the rest of the schedule and the quarterbacks you're going to play. Guys that are very similar to what you played today in Trevor Siemian, Heineke, whoever's quarterback, and Joe Flacco with the Jets, Daniel Jones with the Giants, and then probably the Cowboys backup, as that game probably won't mean anything at the end of the year. So now's the time for Jonathan Gannon to show us you can pin your ears back and go after these guys. So kudos to him for this week's game.
Marky Mark says the Eagles' best offensive line without Seumalo or Brandon Brooks. Wow. I swore to God to myself I was never going to buy a current player's jersey again. There was a moment in this game where Jordan Mailata was literally just tackling everybody.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, he reminded me of John Runyon, or he reminded me of like Trey Thomas, just crushing guys, picking fights. Shane nodded to it. The Eagles haven't had an identity with it before the last several weeks. We are finally getting to it, and that is a ground attack that establishes the run and sets up the pass, like we saw. Like, the game was 27-7 at the half. There was definitely moments in this game where it could have been even bigger. But to piggyback off of you, Rob, this was just an unbelievable moment from Darius Slay. A team that has suffered with no defensive takeaways. They have struggled with that in years. They're still one of the worst in the NFL this year. But you look at back-to-back games with huge touchdown scores. Here's Darius Slay.
Siemian stepping up. Pass to Sticks. Dangerous throw. Intercepted. Darius Slay. Big play. Slay has done it again.
So that is Darius Slay's back-to-back touchdown scores here in successive weeks. I don't know about you, Shane. I'm going to throw it to you. That was one of the best performances from Eagles cornerbacks I have seen in a single week. Avonte Maddox was literally all over the place. Darius Slay got hurt in this game, and you could easily see, they just got picked apart there in that secondary. But they got two good ones here, and I think Steve Nelson had a really good pass breakup on the literally first possession of the game in the first quarter. Shane, where are we at with Darius Slay? Because I know you have some history with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I said that trade was a bad trade when they made it. I said this summer it was a bad trade. And Darius Slay's playing really well right now. Do I still think it was a bad idea to give up a third and a fifth for a 29-year-old corner, make him the highest paid guy in the NFL, and be the last place team in the worst division in the history of the NFL last year, and be, what are we, 5-6 now? I mean, I still don't think it was the best usage of resources, but you could tell today that he has a big impact on this team. He's played a lot better this year. He has as many touchdowns in the last 3 games as Jalen Reagor has in his career. He's playing really well. And you could see when he went out of the game there that the defense really started to struggle. And that part of that was them playing off the offense, inability to move the ball. There was a little bit of stuff going on there, but he's important to this defense, and he does give them, the first legitimate corner they've had since I don't know when. And so, getting him back healthy, I think, did they say it was a concussion? Is that what he was being evaluated for?
I have no idea. I was hella busy during this game, so I didn't even know he was out.
I didn't know he was out until you just said it. How bad is that? Like, I was wondering why they were getting torched so bad.
Yeah.
I'm helping clean up with the kids. I'm watching the game, and then and I'm like, I can't believe they're playing this stuff. I had no idea he was out. It makes me feel a hell of a lot better, actually.
Yeah. So McPherson comes in, which is problematic because McPherson also is a slot corner. I mean, we've got a team full of slot corners and then Darius Slay. So I think they mostly had McPherson on the outside, and he just kind of got abused, and not the best look once Slay went out. So, I mean, he's obviously integral to this defense. And they were successful bringing pressure at Simeon, and I felt like they backed off of that once Slay went out, which I don't blame them because you've got an untested rookie out there now. It's hard to bring a lot of pressure out of those looks. So he's really important if, for no other reason than he gives them the ability to bring more pressure like they were earlier in the game.
Yeah. What about you, Rob? What was your take on Darius Slay today? Just he's had a really strong season.
Look, he's been unbelievable. He's been a leader. He was taking some heat because he made a comment, but he was dead on for that comment, in my personal opinion. I think Darius Slay and Shane, or you had mentioned Avonte Maddox. Right now, we thought the defense was going to go as the front four went. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they have been playing better, but the defense is going as Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox seem to go right now, which is, there's a lot of interesting things about this defense. I mean, who would have thought that Davion Taylor going out with an injury would have been something that really devastated you and hurt you as an Eagles fan? And it was. So, look, I think Darius Slay is the leader that this young group needs. Fletcher's a leader in some ways, but Darius seems to be more the vocal guy that ties the young with the old. So, I love that he's here. I mean, I get what Shane's saying, but I love that he's here.
Here's an awesome tweet during the game. Eagles, Darius Slay has now scored 3 touchdowns, which is more than Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Allen Robinson, and Jarvis Landry so far here. Do you have a tweet here, Shane? I see you working down there in out of production.
This is my favorite moment of the game here was Jordan Mailata just pancaking Cam Jordan with one hand.
Mailata was terrific. Just an animal in this game. Just he just gave me so many vibes of John Runyon. When John Runyon was out there in his prime with the Eagles, that dude would put anyone on his ass. And I just loved watching Runyon play during his time here. Let's go on to Jalen Hurts. We haven't even touched on Jalen Hurts yet. Jalen Hurts finished the game 13 of 24, 147 yards through the air. He had 18 carries for 69 yards and 3 touchdowns. Again, this is kind of similar to that Broncos game. He was really good in that first half here this week. Jalen Hurts in the first half, 9 of 16, 97 yards, 10 carries, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm going to throw it to you, Rob. What was your take on Hurts today?
Well, I think Jalen Hurts took a major step forward in, making believers out of the Eagles and their fans that he can be the starting quarterback going forward. Now, I'm not saying I'm sitting here today saying, oh, I'm sold, I'm in. There's still some work to be done, obviously. But what you look at with a Jalen Hurts is very similar to what Marky Mark is saying down here. It's that Ravens type of playbook. You ground and pound. You let Hurts use his athleticism as he did today a lot when he needed to. You make him throw when he has to, but you allow him to develop that part of his game, and you could still be somewhat successful if you really build on the running game. Now, having the offensive line they have is major for that, but I just see a poised young kid growing. And I think, look, early in the season, we weren't seeing the growth with him, with the coaches. We got nervous. The last 3 or 4 weeks, you've seen growth every week. And people are going to rip the Saints team, but that Saints defense was number 1 against the rush. That Saints defense hasn't given up 30 points, I think, or 40 points in a game in like 20 games, they were saying. So once again, I credit Jalen Hurts, but I'm so ecstatic also about the coaching and what we've seen from that so far.
Yeah, look at this. Jalen Hurts puts Curtis Granderson. No, not Curtis. It's what is
he
his
plays
name?
baseball.
Yeah, Carl Granderson. Jesus, Carl Granderson on skates here. This was one of the just statement plays in Jalen Hurts' career. No question for me. That was a statement play for me. What about you, Shane? How would you? Let's go to grades. Rob, how would you grade Jalen Hurts today before we go to Shane?
Oh, I mean, today he was an A. He really did not make any mistakes. He missed one throw, I think, that I remember. All around a very, very solid game for him. And now he's the only quarterback who's had Randall Cunningham, McNabb, Vic. He's the only quarterback to rush for 3 touchdowns in a game. I'm really happy for the kid that he's seeing some success right now.
It's the growth of Nick Sirianni, bro. It's the growth of Nick Sirianni. We talked about this on Party on Broad and like how we envision Jalen Hurts being a successful quarterback in the NFL and making that next step. It's in that like 15 to 25 throws, with a dominant running game. This is it. And Nick Sirianni has bought in. The Eagles are doing it well, minus Miles Sanders. I don't want to go there. We probably will. But you look at Jordan Howard in this game. You look at Jalen Hurts managing the game. There were several times in this game where Jalen Hurts had nothing, dead to rights. He got a ton of pressure, and he just throws the ball away. How many times in years past have we seen, Carson Wentz get sacked or, make one extra juke and try and throw the ball and it's intercepted? I love the way he manages the game. I'm not saying that this is a future, Tom Brady, but I'm saying this guy is legit taking the next steps in his growth, and that is also attributed to Nick Sirianni. What about you, Shane? How would you grade? I'll give him an A- for me. What about you, Shane?
I'll give him like a B, maybe B+ for today. Quentin said in the comments, this is about right. It's hard to judge quarterback play when you rush for 240 yards. I thought this was a game where we were going to have to see Hurts do more, and we didn't because the running game was so dominant. I thought that he had some really good plays, like where he slid in the pocket there and he delivered that ball to Smith on the crosser. He had a couple of weird plays where he spun around in the pocket like 3 times trying to run out of it. So, there's still moments where he feels a little jumpy, where he looks a little late coming on to some of his reads. Overall, he's showing flashes that he could maybe be that guy. Now we need more consistency to come with it. I thought it was a good performance. I want to see the Eagles not let teams back into it in the second half, though. It's the second week in a row that they've really put their foot on somebody in the first half. And then in the second half, they've gotten conservative. They've struggled to move the ball. And, you can't say it's just because they're trying to run the clock out, because so much of what they're doing in the first half was just running the ball. But I don't know what it is there that they need to fix a little bit. Maybe, that's when they need to open up some of that play action passing. So the biggest thing for Hurts is he is the type of player that's going to take some plays like that touchdown run that ices the game. That play was dead in the water and he's turned it into a touchdown. He will do that a few times a game. He's also going to take some plays that you should have and he's not going to make them. And that's where we're at right now with him. The good part of that is going to stay good. He's going to continue to make those flash plays. If the bad part continues to get better, that's what you got to be really excited about.
All right, let's go into Miles Sanders. Quentin Moore says Miles Sanders still running out of bounds at the end of games. He had a couple of those in a previous game earlier this season. Here on the box score, he had 16 carries, 94 yards, which is pretty good. However, he had a major fumble here when the Eagles were up 14-0. The Eagles got the ball back, and sure enough, Miles Sanders, fumbles the ball in a game where this is a huge game, and in a game where you cannot let go of that football. It was a monumental shift in momentum. Sure enough, the Saints scored, making it 14-7, I think, on a Trevor Siemian pass. And then you go to that play right there where the Eagles need to keep that clock running. They need to get first downs. And sure enough, Miles freaking Sanders runs out of bounds again. What are we doing here, guys? Like, I don't want to call a spade, but I think I'm going to let Rob do it. What's your take on Miles Sanders?
Honestly, the fumbles are a major issue for me. I'll be honest with you. That run out of bounds, I don't know why. It did not bother me as much as the one he didn't do in the beginning of the year. I think on this one is because his momentum was taking him. There's still over 4 minutes, so I think, what is it, over 5 minutes or over 4 minutes? The clock might start to run as soon as the ball's set. But, regardless, look, Miles Sanders is a guy that I think could be a solid running back as part of a committee in this league. But the fumbling, I mean, he almost fumbled again in the exact same situation. One drive later, they just, fortunately for him, had blown the play dead before he went down. So, I mean, that is something he has got to look at and work on. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to be here much longer. I just don't think the Eagles are going to give him a contract.
My issue is Jordan freaking Howard, who has been sensational these last several weeks.
Does anyone know the injury there?
No, I do not. We need to find that out.
I'll find it. I saw it, but I can't remember what they said now.
Jordan Howard, 6.3 yards per carry in this game today, 6.9 the week before, 4.2 the week before that, and then 4.8. He's got 3 touchdowns. He is everything like that we loved about like Garrett Blount in that Super Bowl run. Like, he is pushing the chains and then some. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like relatively pretty close to being done with Miles Sanders. I just don't know how much I can continue to watch this guy make blunder after blunder after blunder. Like, I get it. He's very talented. I just don't think his future here is with the Philadelphia Eagles. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, I actually had people on Twitter yelling at me for calling Miles Sanders out for running out of bounds. They're like,
it's unexcusable. It's inexcusable. You cannot do that in that situation, man.
They're like, they pushed him out of bounds. What's he supposed to do? I'm like, I don't know. Don't get pushed out of bounds. Like, you can slide. You picked up it's first down with 4:22 left. Like, get the first down and go down in bounds. It's not a lot to ask. You gave, and it doesn't matter, but this isn't nitpicking. You gave the Saints an extra 30 seconds because you just stepped out of bounds instead of going down. And it's not the first time he's done it. You were asking about the Jordan Howard injury. It was a knee. They haven't said what, but he was questionable and then downgraded to out to return with a knee injury. So, which it looked like a neck thing, like the way he got flipped up and landed on his head. I thought it was his neck, but apparently it was a knee injury.
That's it. The NFL is so funny to me. The NFL as a league is so funny to me. You say you're trying to protect safety. He's down. He's upended. He's on the ground. How is there not even the thought of like a flag on that guy who comes over the top and just unnecessarily drills him in that moment? I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like the guy dove on him afterwards. It's like, stay consistent with your rulings.
Yeah. All right, let's roll on here to player of the game. You already know where I'm going. I'm going straight to the Eagles' offensive line. The Eagles had 14 rushing first downs in this game, 242 yards. I think it was sacked. I think Jalen Hurts was sacked 3 times, but a lot of those were like, garbage time sacks in the second half where the Eagles literally just sat on the ball and were trying to run out the clock as much as possible. That is everything with this team moving forward. And you look at kind of where we're at, the Eagles are definitely in. They've got all the pieces on the chessboard to start pushing for a playoff run. It's going to be built through the run. And I think you're starting to see the identity of the Eagles being a ground attack game and the Eagles offensive line leading the way. So for me, the Eagles entire offensive line gets the W here, led by my man, Jordan Mailata, who just made me smile so many times in this game, picking fights, throwing people on the ground like he's like Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was awesome. So O-line gets the W for me. What about you, Shane?
I'm going to give it to Jonathan Gannon. It's a guy that's been under a lot of fire, and I thought he came in with a really good game plan, and it worked. I mean, for 3 quarters, they shut the Saints down. Now, the Saints obviously missing playmakers, starting Trevor Siemian, but we haven't seen the defense dominate an offense like that all year. He brought pressure. Everything went great until Darius Slay went out with an injury. So, you hope he's back. You hope Gannon continues to push the right buttons there. But overall, I was really encouraged by the growth and the adjustments from Jonathan Gannon today.
What about you, Rob?
I'm kind of following same suit. I was giving it to the coaches. I was giving it to Nick Sirianni and Gannon. Gannon for all the reasons Shane just said. Sirianni because, one of my fears was he was going to go to conventional wisdom, right? The idea of, they could stop the run, so I got to pass the ball 46 times. He told us in the beginning he knew how to adjust. Now, maybe it took a little bit longer than what we wanted to, but he understands what works for this team, and he stuck with it, even going against the number 1 rushing defense in the league, and just torched them on it. So he continues to impress me with his adjustments and his maturity as a young coach. But Gannon took a major step forward today as well. So I think both of those guys really got me excited for this stretch run.
Love it, love it, love it. Especially the blitz. Throwing some Alex Singleton blitzes. Avonte Maddox had a blitz. This is a team that has not blitzed at all relatively this season. And they got home today, and that was really great. Shane, where can we find you, man? What do you got going on?
You can find me on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. Check out my twice-a-week podcast with Mark, Chalk Talk. You can find it on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube if you want to watch the videos.
What about you, Rob?
Find me Twitter at Philly_Madness, Instagram at Langy84, Facebook, Rob Langy. I don't know who won the contest this week. I'm going to have to go back and look to see. I can tell you that no one picked the Eagles to score 40 points. I can tell you that. So we're going to have to see who's closest there. Catch me here partying on Broad with Dibes, typically middle of the week, and then right here on the post-game shows.
All right, guys. Also, please be sure to smash that subscribe button if you're watching us live. If you're not watching us live, share the love. Hit that subscribe button and give a like if you love Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are going for the playoffs, man. This is actually happening. This is really happening, which is unbelievable considering where we were 4 or 5 weeks ago. Just crazy. The ebbs and flows of the NFL is real. You can't deny it. Jalen Hurts is positively developing right in front of our eyes. It is an amazing thing. My man Rob over there, he is at Philly_Madness. My man Shane down there at @halfandhalf_TPL. My man Quentin's like, playoffs. But expect all the Jalen Hurts highlight reels, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, you name it, that will be dropping momentarily. We are literally just about to jump to a Christmas light show. So they probably won't drop till later tonight. So sorry, Jalen Hurts fans. Is going to have to wait a little bit. For Rob, for Shane, for myself. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome, everybody.